Welcome to a rather unusual video. Today I decided to make a video addressing Dead Frontier. Mainly, I was thinking about for at least a month now to make some kind of video on like the history of the game, or you know, like the current state of the game, or how I feel about it, or you know, how about all of that together. I'm gonna be using quite a lot of other YouTubers' videos, but any videos that I made myself, basically I'm on my secondary account, which is becoming my main because I like this build better. I was around level 42, 43 at this time, so and I'll be doing some loot runs in these videos. Killing a boss as well. If we're going to talk about the history of Dead Frontier, we need to go back to like 2008. That's about the time I believe Dead Frontier started around. In order to help promote Dead Frontier, Neil basically made the Dead Frontier Outbreak games, which were like a choose-your-own-adventure style game, and he also made the Dead Frontier Nights games, which was just like a survival top-down shooter. Anyway, the game was in 2D at that time. It was still a fun game, but it was kind of limited. People enjoyed it though. It was good for what it was, I suppose. And there was nothing else like it, right? I started playing around the end of the 2D era, about the beginning of 2010, because I believe the game went 3D sometime in Q3 of that year. But yeah, I enjoyed the game as well. I talked about it on my channel a long time ago.
We've been playing an internet game. If you go to Google and you put in Dead Space Frontier, and the first one, it will say MMO, Dead Frontier. You can create an account on that. It's a zombie game. Pretty fun. You explore, buy weapons, get up skills, try to like get people, invite people, add people. It's pretty fun.
Overall, I think by the end of 2010, the game's reception was quite high. The move to 3D was a good move, and extended the length of the game, and of course we'd see more updates after that. And now we move on to the recent history. To tell you the truth, I was playing this game rather on and off between 2012 and 2018. But during the times I was playing, I noticed the improvements, the return of missions. Secronome Bunker also became an outpost. I believe it used to be just a looting facility. But yeah, 2015 saw quite a lot of updates and a lot of controversies. Besides the Secronome Bunker update, we also had implants introduced, which are just basically augments for your character and basically improves their stats. The infamous Unlimited Wraith Cannon update came around this time as well. Well, what does it do? It gives you unlimited ammo for your Wraith Cannon, pretty much meaning that any aggro you encounter will be subsided rather easily. Why was it controversial? Well, I believe the gun costed around, was it 20,000 credits or something? It's about $600 in real life. People weren't happy about that. Going back to the Secronome Bunker, it is the last outpost we have received, and currently exists in the Black Zone, which is pretty much near endgame levels at the moment. Something I almost forgot to talk about, the Wasteland. I believe it came out at the beginning of 2016, and it was probably the biggest content update for this game in, well, forever. It's a permanent PvP area outside of the inner city, but it's still like in gameplay, and it's an extremely high level looting area with hugely aggressive aggro and potential for extremely good loot. It's a really challenging area, but I think its addition was extremely welcome by the community. All the footage I'm using discussing these updates is from the YouTuber Champion. Some would say he's like the leading figure for this game on YouTube. And I think that's a good statement to make because he's always the one providing the information. He makes good videos, people like him. This game is like his passion. So basically if you need to know anything about the game from the past or anything coming up, you just go check out his channel, yo. So, Dead Frontier 2. It was officially announced on the 29th of October 2017. I first heard of Dead Frontier 2 around January 2018, and that's actually what made me come back to the first game. I think the reason this was created was because Neil saw no real future in the first game, so he's like, okay, we're gonna make a new game using an updated Unity engine and it's gonna be great. And I think a lot of people were really excited about this announcement. The trailer looks a bit like Resident Evil. That wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe a slight change in gameplay would have helped this game be more, you know, longer lasting, or who knows, right? Of course, looking at the gameplay, it seems like a fairly drastic shift compared to the first game, but I'm sure people would have adapted over time, right? Before release, a couple of the guys got access to the game, so they made some videos on it, and they were generally really excited for what the final game would offer. I think the game was delayed for about a week, but it eventually released on the 5th of September 2018. I think the initial thoughts on the game was that, well, it's a good start, I mean, it's not complete yet, but it's a good start, and people only hoped updates would fix the game and add content and all those good things. Problem is that the updates were either controversial, they were too minor, people obviously got bored, started criticizing the game, and just, had generally low hopes for the game. Me personally, I was playing with a friend around the time it came out, and I think I played it for about 3 weeks, and he only played it for like the first week. And just like us, a big proportion of the player base left and got bored. At least 75% of the players left after the first month. The death knell really came in November when Neil just said, I think the game is done, it's time to go back to DF1. I could go on about the problems and why DF2 failed and maybe it will revive someday, but at the moment, it's not very good. A great YouTuber by the name of ZeroLife made a really good video on why he thinks DF2 failed and why DF1 will continue. I'd recommend to go check out his video because, if you're a DF1 player, you would connect with this guy totally, and I think his arguments are basically spot on. Basically, the last real update was the Christmas update, and I think sometime before that they increased the level cap, and they did a couple of things, but really, it's just pointless. It's nothing updates. I mean, the game is basically dead. And that's really the end so far to DF2. I mean, maybe in a year from now we'll see something better, but as of right now, it's not looking very good. So, the current state of Dead Frontier. Well, I can tell you right off the bat that it's doing a lot more successfully than Dead Frontier 2. Dead Frontier 2 hovers at around 60 players per day, while Dead Frontier 1 hovers at around 1,500 players per day. But forget numbers, what about actual updates? What has happened since Dead Frontier 2's abandonment? Well, not much really. A couple new implants were released, as well as a whole new load of X weapons, which doesn't come without its controversy, mainly because you need devil's hearts to craft them, and you need to go and kill devil hounds, and it's kind of a challenge.
Devil hearts to craft weapons. What? Why? It barely makes any fucking sense. Think about it. You need a heart to craft a weapon.
But, well, that's the way it is. Honestly, there isn't a whole lot more to say. I mean, it's still classical Dead Frontier, so, if you liked it years ago, you'll still like it now. Around the first half of May this year, a standalone mod pack for the client was released. The mod basically contains several different quality of life improvements for the game. And these are honestly things Neil should have added to the game a long time ago. Things like a detailed minimap, the ability to change the crosshair color and the shape, and also being able to see how much inventory space you have left. Unfortunately, the 4th version of the mod pack has been cancelled because using it will grant you a 24-hour ban. However, version 3 still works at the moment, and I believe you can re-download it again. The only problem is that once there's a new client update, you're going to have to stop using it, or you might even get banned with that version too. It's honestly just a huge disappointment that it had to end this way, and we're all just hoping that Neil will add this stuff officially to the game. So, here we are, June 2019, and Dead Frontier is still going. So, what does the future actually hold for Dead Frontier? It's honestly a hard question to answer, but there will always be speculation and anticipation for new updates. There are always rumors about the map expanding eastwards, maybe new zones, I mean who knows, maybe some new bestiary to come along with these new zones. The only thing we really want is for this game to continuously get new updates. As this is Neil's only source of income, he needs to keep this game alive. So my verdict? Speculate away. How do we conclude this? I mean, we're still here, Dead Frontier's still here. Neil tried some experiments, tried something new, and it just didn't work out. But as long as we have this game to play, I think we're pretty satisfied with that. I think the only real thing we have to worry about is that the player base is rather consistent. Because if a lot of people start leaving over time, then, the game might not continue anymore. But as it stands, I think we're doing pretty alright, to be honest. And that concludes the video. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, maybe I might make Dead Frontier videos in the future, but it's probably unlikely if I'm honest. Anyways, see you later.